Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Ninaribena's Art Journal Prompts and More. It's September week 2 and of course time for me to get my usual scraps journal out again and start adding some more to these lovely pages. So just a quick flip. This is how it's coming along quite nicely. Now I think today I'm going to finish off this middle section here, and what I've tried to do throughout the journal so far is just make sure that everything is cohesive, that each spread coordinates nicely, and so I want to try and do the same with this middle section here. So I'm just going to take this out. Let me just pop that to one side. Now, of course, on the reverse, I used this piece of gift wrap, and I really like how that looks, and I'd like to keep that continuity going. And I've got a couple of scraps of this paper left over, and I think I'm going to try and add these to the other side. Now, I really like this strip of picture framing tape in the craft colour down the middle, so I don't want to cover that up. And to be honest, I haven't got enough of the gift wrap left anyway, so I think I'm just going to try and patch this up. I've prized apart, I don't know if you remember, but I ended up gluing this piece of paper bag down, and I've managed to prise it apart, and if I can find the tool that I did it with, here we go, it's fallen on the floor. I've just really gently eased it and it's come off, because I think I just used glue stick for that, so it's come and stuck with the exception of this bit in the corner here, but I can patch that up, not worried about that. So I think I'm going to just cut this to size and tuck some of this black and white paper inside. I just think that just makes a really nice mount to put other pieces of artwork on top of. So I can see here that I can line it up with this strip here, so I'm just going to cut that with my guillotine. Now on the other side you can see that this one here isn't quite long enough, but I've got another paper bag which matches the pink one on the other side, so I think what I'll do, I don't want to cover up this stitching, and of course if I go to the edge and then I stitch over the top, I run the risk of ruining what I've got on the other side. So what I'm going to do is just put the paper bag there. It would just add a nice contrast. So I'm just going to cut my pieces up and then I'll be back. Now, of course, my paper bag wasn't long enough, so I've just got a piece of the front and the back of the bag, and I can line these up together, something like that. I've tried to cut it so that it looks as if it will be one continuous line by just making sure that I've trimmed the holes at the same place. So I am just going to line this up. Let's have a look and see how I want that to go so that it's symmetrical. You know me. So something like that. So I'll glue this one down first. I'm just using a piece of scrappy old deli paper, and again I'm just going to use a glue stick, and I'll glue this down first because it's translucent, and then I can put the black and white wrapping paper, gift wrap, over the top. So I said I wanted that something like that. I'm not going to be too precious about this. It's ridiculous. It really doesn't matter. As Ava said during my journal video, perfection is completely overrated, and it is, isn't it? So I'm just going to press that down with a glue stick, and then I'm just going to glue, let's have a look, am I in frame? Glue this piece down like that so that it just looks as if it's continuous. So I'm just going to trim the edges off. I just want to make sure that I move my strings out of the way, because I do want to keep those. There we go. And so that looks neat, and now I can trim the other side. Again, I just want to move my strings out of the way because I don't want to cut them. There we go, and that's that done. And so then I'm going to glue my pieces of gift wrap over the top like that, and I want both of the hard edges here on the inside, just because this goes all the way to the side, so if I've got a piece of the white paper, it looks as if it was meant to be. So I'm going to glue those down with glue stick as well, and I've got myself a fresh piece of deli paper. I just keep recycling my deli paper. You know, once the glue's dried, I stick it aside once it's wet, and then, you know, use it again once it's dried. And let me just show you before I glue the other side down. I mean, that to me has just transformed a really plain piece of white paper to something that just looks much more interesting. So I'm just going to glue the other side down now as well. So that's how my page is looking. I really like that, and it ties in with the other side as well, which I think is really nice. Now, of course, this is going to slot into my journal, sort of, you know, behind here like this. So I need to find a couple of pieces that are going to match what's inside here, just to, you know, tie it all together. So I've pulled out these two pieces of my artwork. I don't know whether you can remember the tag that I created a while ago here using wallpaper samples. So again, you know, scraps used in this, and also this little artist trading card here that I made using alcohol inks. But I just think, you know, the fact that it's a butterfly and we've got the doves, just the swallows, sorry, just works really nicely together. The colours tie in together, so that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just going to take it out again, just because I want to work on the background a little bit further, just to jazz it up a little bit. So I've pulled it out of the journal again, and I've grabbed some Amsterdam acrylic paint in Sky Blue Light. This is one of my favourite colours. Just find the flat end, and I just want to add some circles. I've got some circles on the other side here in black, but I just want to use the Sky Blue light. I'm going to try, in fact, I think I might use a bigger one on the other side. So we'll use this one here. I'm going to try my hardest to be random about it. Come on, Nina, don't think about where you're putting these circles, because it really doesn't matter. I have one hanging down here. I might have one hanging off the page. Let's use this like that. Don't overthink it, come on. Be random. There we go. So I'm just going to leave that be, and then I just need to find a bigger mark making tool for the other side, because the dots on this one are much bigger. Again, the paper bags were just ones that I've collected in my stash. Does anybody else collect paper bags when you buy gifts and cards and things? I'm more interested in the paper bag. I ended up adding a few more circles just because I couldn't resist, and this is just a protector off one of my paint brushes. I found a slightly bigger lid now. I've got no idea what this has come off, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. And again, I'm just going to try to be random about it and not overthink where I'm putting these. It's so hard. There we go. I think I want to put one up here as well. And this is just to, you know, add a bit of interest. Can't really see that one so much. There we go, it's a bit better. But because I'm adding such a thick layer of paint as well, it's quite dimensional. So this will be quite nice when it dries as well. Let's add one there. And I think that will do. I might even add a few smaller ones. Let's have a go with this. You can't really see them at the moment, but I think you will once it's dry. It just adds a bit of texture. I like that, and I can overlap in some of the white ones here as well. Yeah, there we go. Now I've given that a quick blast with the heat gun. That's how I'm going to lay my pages out. Now I don't know whether you can see, I've got some splatters on the butterfly here, and I did this with Posca paint pens. I'm going to use some of the leftover blue paint though, because if you can see here I've got pale blue, pink and white. I think I've got a bit of purple in there as well. I'm not going to bother with that, but I don't want any splatters on this side here, so I'm just going to cover that over. I don't want any on the craft either, so if I just pop that there, then I can water down the blue paint here. Let's just roll up my sleeves because I don't want any on my jumper, and I can just thin this paint down slightly, just so that I can, oh, I've got some black reactivating there, so let's keep over to this side here. A bit more water, not quite runny enough, and then I can use the Posca paint pen just to, and I just, whoops, that was a bit bigger a blob than I wanted, but that's okay. Tap more gently. It's because I haven't got quite enough liquid in it probably, but you know, I'm happy with that, that's fine. And then I'm going to do the same with some pink and some white, and I'm going to use my Posca paint pen for that. So I've got my pink Posca paint pen here, and I'm just trying to activate it. Here we go, and I'm just going to splatter like this, and as I say, let me just move that out of the way. That was how I got the splatters on the butterflies when I made them. Not too many, just a few. That's really pretty. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the white one. So again, I've just tapped my Posca paint pen up and down like this just to activate it, and I'm just going to put a few white splatters, hopefully, if I've got enough ink left in this pen. And so I did manage to get a few white splatters, so I'm just going to give this a quick blast with my heat tool on low because of these big blobs I've got here, and then I'm just going to have to leave that aside now to dry. So I'm just going to glue these down. I'm going to take them off. You can see that I got impatient and dried my bubbles with my heat tool, and I've blistered them, and I quite like the way that looks. I'm going to glue this one on first, I think, and I folded it over just because I just think that it's easier to see how it lays out. I'm going to glue it down with some Fabri-Tac. I'm not worried about getting it straight to the edges. As long as it sticks down and doesn't come unstuck, then you know that's fine. So where do I want that to go? About there, I think. So I'm just going to hold that down for a couple of seconds, and then I'll glue the tag down to the other side. Just make sure that I've got that straight. There we go, that will do. And I can flip that over and just decide where I want to have my tag. So again, I'm just going to use Fabri-Tac, and I don't want this completely flat either. As long as it's stuck, that's good enough for me. So that will do. And then I'm going to have that about there. And again, I'll just hold that down for a couple of seconds just to make sure that that's stuck, and that's that spread done. So here it is. I just love the way that looks, and I just like the fact that I've got the different coloured paper bags on each side. Let's stick it in the journal and just see what it looks like. So it's going to go here like this. So keep your fingers crossed that everything coordinates really nicely. I love that. Just make sure that everything is slotted in. And it may well be that once my journal is finished that I sew these signatures in. I haven't decided yet, but I just like the fact that because I'm using elastic bands, I can move things around and take things out if I want to. So I just think those pages work nicely together. I think everything contrasts really well. Yeah, I'm happy with that. There we go. So moving on, let's have a look and see what we can do next. I think I would quite like to do something with this page here. Let me just find the other side of it. Okay, so we've got the Art Deco piece. So let's work on this next. Now I've got a mailer that came through the post from Bowden, and I just absolutely love these dog images. There's one on the back and two on the front, the dog with the Dalmatian with the bowler hat, and so I'd like to try and use this in some way. I also received this in the post this week as well. I can't show you because it's got our address and details on the back, but that's what it looks like. I like the texture of this. I'm going to see if I can try and peel. Oh, this is coming off really nicely. That was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. So I'm just going to see if I can use this in some way to display my dog and maybe make some kind of a tag, I don't know, out of it. So this, when it goes back in my journal, is going to sit next to this page here. And I don't know, this isn't doing it for me. So what I've decided to do, this is another piece of junk mail. This is an envelope. I think it was Mel, my friend, that gave me this. And so I'm going to cover the black paper in this piece of envelope, just so that it ties in with the page on the opposite side. So I'm going to take it apart. I don't know whether this is Tyvek or what it is. I don't know. I think I've got one of these somewhere as well. But I'm sure this particular one was from my friend Mel. Which side do I want to use? I think this one's going to be too small. Let's have a look. Yep, I think I need to use this side here. And so I'm going to stick that down again. I'm going to use a glue stick. So I've got a piece of deli paper just tucked inside here to protect my paper, and I'm going to apply glue stick all over the outside of the page because this is just an easier way to glue it down. Rather than applying it to the envelope. Again, focusing on applying the glue stick to the edges, and then I'll have some in the middle as well, just to make sure that it's not going to lift, it's not going to go anywhere. And then I can stick my envelope down. Let me just move that out of the way, and then I can stick my envelope down. Oh, come back. In fact, I might be easier doing it this way up. And of course we've got wiggle room with glue stick as well. And then I can use a credit card just to make sure that that's firmly attached and trim around the edges. And so that's how we're looking, and as I say, I can just trim around the edges now and just tidy it up. Trim this edge here as well. Oh, come on, get off. And I'll go all the way around. And I think this will contrast nicely with the page on the opposite side. And again, just, you know, using more junk mail. So that's that done, and that coordinates nicely. So now I want to work on my piece of junk envelope. I'm going to stick a piece of deli paper inside to protect it because I want to add some of this tissue paper here. Again, this is another scrap, and I just think that will coordinate really nicely. So again, I'm going to apply glue all over the back here. Let me just grab another piece of deli paper. Here we go, this one here will do, and I'll apply glue all over. Whoops daisy, go back in. This will just stop me gluing the insides together, so you know that's quite important. And again, I'm just going to focus on applying plenty of glue around the edges. So press it down. If I've got creases, that's okay. Creases and wrinkles, that's fine. As Ava says, perfection is overrated. I need a bit more glue in this corner down here. There we are. And then I'm just going to trim around the edges again. So of course now I need to trim inside here, and so what I'm going to do is insert my cutting mat inside my envelope like this. It's not quite wide enough, so I'll start off at one side and then I'll move it over to the other, and I'm just going to trim here. So I've got my Stanley knife, and very carefully, let me just make sure that that's in properly. So very carefully I'm just going to trim, and then we can move it across. And I've got a feeling that this tissue paper was Bowden as well, although I'm not quite sure, I can't remember. It looks very Bowden anyway. There we are. And so we can take that out and peel it off. Not quite perfect, but you know, good enough. Okay, so that's glued down. I've also got a piece, this is all I've got left of that wrapping paper, and I think that this will add a really nice contrast. So I think I'm going to glue some of that to the top of the flap there, like that. I've dropped my glue on the floor, so again I'm just going to apply glue just over the flap, and then I can trim this down because of course it's not quite big enough. And that's okay, I can trim that down in a second. So there we go, and that's my glue, and then I can just stick that down across the top like that. So this is what I've got, and I love it, but I don't like this part here, so I've made a decision, and what I'm going to do is insert another piece of the green Tyvek or whatever it is inside the sleeve like this. So again, I'm just going to apply some glue stick all over the back. So I really like this so far, and what I'm thinking is that I can make a tag with this dog here. I've got one of these bouquet backgrounds that we made this time last year, and that will work really nicely with the opposite side and slot into my envelope like this. Everything's still a bit tacky at the moment. I do feel as if I need some black on this top lip here, so I think I'm going to add the other remaining piece of the gift wrap there at the top, but we'll do that later. So I need to cut my dog out, and then of course I've got another one on the other side, and what I'm thinking is that I can cut him out something like that and pop him inside one of these frames, and that will go on the front like that, and I just think that will look really cute. So let me just go and trim some papers out. So first of all, I'm just gluing my, let's have a look, gluing my black and white strip down like this. I've got the deli paper in there protecting the rest of my envelope, and so I'm just going to stick that on like that, and then when that's dry I can trim it. So that's the tag, and I've just cut out the little words here, be barking. It said you'd be barking to miss this or something like that. I've forgotten what it said, so I just cut out be barking. I am going to ink around the edges just to make that stand out a bit more. So there we go. We'll just do whoops daisy, we'll just do that and glue that down. And I do want to round the edges as well, so be barking, and I think I'm going to have that off center, something like that. And then I'm going to use my X-cut just to round the edges, just because I don't know, it just looks too square. That is just really, really cute. I love that. So be barking. So that's that. So I'm just going to glue that on with a tiny bit of Fabri-Tac. There we go. And that will go something like that. There we are. And then I can glue that down to the back as well. That little bit there is bugging me, a bit too square. I'm just going to trim it. There we are, that's better. And then I think I'll have that something like that. And then I want my dog in my frame about there. So I'm just going to draw around the outside like this and then cut that out just slightly inside my guide lines, because otherwise of course it'll be too big to glue onto my frame. So I shall just cut that out. So as I say, just going inside the frame. So that's all trimmed down, and again I just want to add some Fabri-Tac. I'm going to apply it to the back of the chipboard this time, like this. There we go. And then attach that like that. There we are. Cute, 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 cute. Okay, so let's just finish this off. I'm just going to stick down this quote here, pause on it. Pause as in P-A-U-S-E, which I thought was quite cute. I think it said put your paws on it or something like that, but that's just to cover up the return delivery address on the bottom. I'm going to do exactly the same here with the dog image. This is just so cute. Just a bit of glue, you don't need much. Let's have a look how you want to put that. Something like that. I'm going to try and centralize it. That will do fine. So hold that down for a second or two. I also want to add some kind of fibres to the top here. Again, I've got just junk trim. This was wrapped around some kind of parcel. I can't even remember what it was. So I'm going to cut that. Let's have a look about there. I don't need too much of it, and then I need my pokey tool, because I'm going to use, because I've got all the pink polka dots, I thought it would be quite cute to have a pink brad as well, just as a loop through the top. So I just want to try and centralize that, something like that, and then I'm just going to put my pokey tool through about there. Be careful with this, because you know pokey tools are really sharp, and let's just see if we can get that to go through to the other side. I might need to punch a hole actually. I think I might grab my crocodile. So I'm just going to punch a hole. I'm just using the small hole on my crocodile like that, and again let's just see if we can get the brad to go through. There we go. So I can poke it through like that, and then find the hole that I did on the other side. Where is it? There we go. and then I can just fold them out like that. How cute is that? It looks really lovely in the pink. So one last finishing touch, I'm going to put a cerise pink pearl just to cover up whatever is there. Some kind of branding. There we go, that will do, and that's it. So I'm just going to insert my tag in my envelope, and I just think that just looks really cute. And here's my page. So I'm just going to glue my tag on there, just like that, again with Fabri-Tac, because I know it's strong and it's not going to go anywhere. So we'll just apply some Fabri-Tac to the back like so. I need to give this a wipe, we've got loads of gunk on it. Let me stand up and make sure that I've got that nicely aligned. There we go, that will do. And I'm just going to pop that inside my journal. So I just need to insert this back into my journal, and I don't know whether to have that there like that, or whether that piece there would look better, which I think it does. So I think, again, joy of elastic, I'm going to change position and have that there like that. And of course the cerise pink matches really well with the pink in the marbled flowers here. I just think that's really cute. So, you know, just something simple from junk packaging. So I'm going to leave it there for this week. I've got 3 more pages done. This one here, this one. I just love how those look. I think it just works really well with the pages that are on the back. And, you know, my aim with this is to just try and get everything to look cohesive. And then, of course, my fun dog page here. I just think that's adorable. So cute. I need to do something with the back of this page here. And I've got an idea that's sprung to mind. I just haven't got time to do it today. I also need to do something with the middle of this signature here, and again, you know, I'll have a think about that, and we'll do that another time. But there it is. So I hope you've enjoyed following along with my usual scraps journal again this week, and if you did, as always, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. You know, feel free to do any type of scraps or junk pages this week. I've just tried to use, you know, bits and pieces that I've got lying around my table. Anything goes, don't overthink it. So take care everyone, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.